All right, let's get into the weeds on two of the biggest tools in your shed right now, the PACT Act and the old school Gulf War presumptives. A lot of guys are getting these confused, or worse, they think because they filed for one, they can't touch the other. And that's a mistake that's costing veterans thousands in back pay. So here's the deal for 2026. You aren't just looking at one bucket of benefits, you're looking at two totally different legal theories. And if you're smart, you'll use both of them to put the VA in a corner. Think of the PACT Act as the diagnosis bucket. This is for when the doctor gives your condition a specific name. We're talking about things like asthma, rhinitis, sinusitis, or the big heavy hitters like lung cancer or kidney cancer. If you have the diagnosis and you served in the right places, Iraq, Afghanistan, Kuwait, any of those Southwest Asia spots, well, the VA has to concede that your exposure to burn pits or toxic gunk caused it. There is no end date for these. If you get diagnosed with asthma 10 years from now, you are still covered under the PACT Act. Now flip over to the Gulf War presumptives. Golly, my beard's driving me crazy. Under 38 CFR, I call this the I feel like crap bucket. This is for medically unexplained stuff. We're talking about chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, functional GERD, which is basically just a fancy term for IBS. It also covers what they call undiagnosed illnesses. This is for when your joints ache, your head throbs, or your stomach's a total mess. But the doctors can't seem to find a name to give that issue that you have. Here's the kicker. As of right now, the clock is ticking on the undiagnosed illness part. The current today deadline for those symptoms to show up is December 31st this year, 2026. If you're sitting around waiting for a diagnosis that never comes, you need to file under the Gulf War presumption before that window closes, or you're going to completely miss out. So, where do they overlap and how do you play them kind of against each other? Let's say you have a respiratory issue. You could file for rhinitis under the PACT Act because you have a diagnosis. But maybe you also have chronic headaches and joint pain that nobody can explain. You don't file those under PACT. You file those as undiagnosed illnesses under the Gulf War presumption. You can and should file for both on the same claim form. The VA's own rules say they have to look at your service record and apply whichever law gives you the highest rating. Here's where it gets tactical. Let's say you have stomach problems. If the doctor says it's definitely IBS, that's a Gulf War presumption. But if that stomach issue turns out to be gastrointestinal cancer, that's a PACT Act presumption. If you aren't sure which one it is yet, you claim both. You tell the VA, I've got chronic gut issues, and let them figure out if it fits the unexplained bucket or the toxic exposure bucket. Don't do the rater's job for them. Your job is to report the symptoms and the service location. Their job is to apply the law to get you the rating. The biggest mistake that I see veterans doing is thinking the PACT Act replaced Gulf War rules. It did not. it added to them. PACT Act is great for named respiratory conditions and cancers. Gulf War presumptives are still for the king, the king of IBS, the overall body pain, the things the doctor just can't put their finger on. If you served in Southwest Asia anytime between 1990 and now, you essentially are double covered. One final word on the 2026 deadline. Don't panic, but do not procrastinate. That December 31st date is for when the symptoms have to manifest to a 10% degree. If you've been hurting since 2004, you've already met those requirements. You just need to get it on paper. Get your intent to file in. Whether it's for a PACT Act cancer or a Gulf War undiagnosed illness or headache or whatever, the VA owes you a fair shake under both sets of rules. I've gone ahead and put the links to the 21-526-EZ in the description below. That's the form where you list all of this. Don't worry about being a lawyer. Just list your symptoms, list your diagnoses, and let the 2026 rules do the heavy lifting for you. That's all we got for today, folks. Let me know your comments below, and we'll keep after it. Take care of one another. See ya.